I've been having a blast making this wild horror game about donuts, hallucinations, and narcissism. And it seems like people are pretty into the concept.
Got some donut action going!
But there's something I keep noticing in playtests. Okay, we might have a problem. Up to now, the core game loop was a genre mashup of anomaly and cooking horror. You'll make donuts, watch for hallucinations, and if you spot one, sprint to the panic room. Easy enough, but if you ever miss one hallucination, you die. Start over. Typical anomaly games get away with instant failure because each round is quick. You're just walking through a room. Donut Panic is a bit more involved. You're serving customers, checking recipes, cooking donuts. Losing all that progress because you missed one teeny tiny itsy bitsy little hallucination just feels brutal. But here's the challenge. When you're combining genres, you might actually be designing for two completely different audiences. People who've played anomaly games find it too easy. People who haven't, well. So basically, nobody's happy. But that's not all. There's another issue, and that's that running to the panic room every time implies that there's some sort of danger. Now, of course, if the hallucination looks like this, yeah, dude, run for your life. But if it's just an inanimate object, something slightly out of place, it's not intuitive and just feels silly to run away. So with all these problems in mind, I went back to the drawing board. I came up with a completely new system, one that's less punishing without sacrificing the challenge, allows for more variety in the hallucinations, and doesn't require you to run to the panic room for everything. My solution is this bad boy right here, the incinerator. Now when you find a hallucination, you need to quickly decide whether you can toss it in the incinerator, or if you need to make a break for the panic room. Okay, the effects are fun, but you're probably wondering how this solves anything, right? The main difference between the two is how final the panic room is. You've left the space and abandoned the customer.
Hey! What the hell?
But the incinerator doesn't have the same finality, so you can use the incinerator and then continue with the order. Which means now a single order can have multiple incinerator hallucinations, and potentially even a panic room hallucination, all wrapped up in one round. And you have to deal with all of them.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Oh yeah, that's right. And there is no way for you to know if you found every hallucination. Wait, didn't he just say the game is too difficult? No. Now he's gonna add more stuff? It was too punishing. There is a difference, right? Okay. Fair point. Okay, how about this? Instead of dying when you miss a single hallucination, I added the concept of sanity, which gives you a little bit more leniency. So this guy's big solution is a health bar. Yeah, alright, I admit, it's not the most innovative concept, but it is intuitive and it works really well. At first I was actually using this rotting effect to represent your sanity, but the tricky thing about an anomaly game is any change to the environment just seems like an anomaly. Players were confused, which is fair enough, so the simpler and more direct sanity bar just alleviates that entirely. Now, a single missed hallucination won't ruin your run, but if your sanity hits 0, you're done. Finding an easy one isn't a free round anymore because there could always be another one hiding somewhere around the corner. But a tricky one isn't an immediate death sentence either. Plus, now you only need to run to the panic room if there's a real danger. The challenge and that sweet, sweet paranoia comes from never knowing if you're safe. This playtest did really, really well, but it also kind of opened up some new problems. Cooking is a familiar concept. You may have heard of it. It's something most of us experience every day. But for most people, hallucinations aren't. And even with just 2 rules, it's starting to get a little confusing. So I went through the usual cycle. Add some guidance, playtest, watch where players get confused, which is so annoying because it's literally right there, like why don't we just look at it? And repeat. I added some new posters designed by Kate Ashwin.
That's class.
Next, I added an employee's guide for folks who want the fine print. I kept playtesting and I realized I just need to remove the randomization entirely from the first 2 orders. Now the very first order of the game teaches you how to make donuts, and the second introduces hallucinations, one for the incinerator and then one for the panic room. Now by the time players reach order 3, I can be confident that they know the rules, and from there on it's really out of my hands. They're on their own to survive. Some people were still struggling with the concept of what counts as a hallucination though. So I added hints to the desk screen, and I added a journal which records every hallucination you found and gives you hints for every one that you've missed. Eventually, everyone was getting it, which is awesome, but I wasn't done yet, because this opened up another can of worms. Before, if you ever missed a hallucination, then you were killed and we cut to black, which made it really easy to reset the environment. Now though, missing hallucinations doesn't always mean that you die, so if you miss one in the service area, it's still visible. So how do I reset the environment without spoiling what you missed? My solution was to lean into the idea of electricity being a representation of your sanity, like the building itself is struggling to hold it together as your sanity drops. Beyond that simple effect, I added occasional power outages if you miss hallucinations but still have some sanity left. These trigger randomly, but it also means I can be sneaky and force the blackout when I need to seamlessly reset a visible hallucination in this area. The lights go out, the room resets, and the player never sees what changed. And as a bonus, it's a great opportunity to teach the concept of sanity. I can force a blackout the very first time you ever miss an hallucination, and it acts as a nice introduction to your sanity meter to help establish that connection between hallucinations and sanity, telling the player that they need to be more careful. So after dozens of playtests and different iterations, I finally feel like we're getting to a good balance here. I don't really know how clear it is without playtesting both versions yourself, but there's so much more tension, there's so much more for you to do, you can never really let your guard down, and there's just a lot more variety and fun I can have with the hallucinations without making the game too easy or too difficult. It's a really nice tool to kind of balance everything out while making the game more complex. You're constantly on your toes, and it turns out that setting things on fire is really motivating gameplay. And of course, with this framework set up, more twists and turns can be added to introduce new types of hallucinations that require different tools to resolve. And with that, it's finally time to put the game in your hands. I'm opening up the demo playtesting right now, and whether you enjoy the game, get scared out of your mind, or run into some crazy game-breaking bug, I genuinely love to hear what you think. It's a great opportunity to help shape the game. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to all my patrons, with an extra special thank you to all of my Ospreys, Elegon, Jason Hansen, Elise Whaley, Justice Lind, Brandon Pung, Peter James, Will Todd, Neil Blakey Milner, Josh Temple, and Kuro Pebbles. I appreciate you sticking out to the end, and I will see you guys next time.